To solve this question, we have to keep in mind that there is information given on the labor force participation rate and unemployment rate. So if we recall, the unemployment rate is the number of unemployed over the labor force times 100, because we want to talk in terms of percentages. In other words, out of the people who are willing to work, how many of them are actually unemployed, don't have a job, and are looking for work. And we know that the labor force is just the sum of unemployed and employed. We also know that the labor force participation rate is the number of people in the labor force over the adult population over 16, times 100, again to talk in terms of percentages. In other words, the labor force participation rate is asking how many people are willing to work out of the people who can work. And we know that our unemployment rate in this economy is 4, and the labor force participation rate is 80. So first, let's figure out how many people are unemployed in this economy. We know that our unemployment rate, which is 4, is found out by looking at the number of unemployed out of our labor force, which is the sum of unemployed plus employed, and we know from the table that we have 9,600 people employed. Now all we need to do is solve for the number of unemployed because we have one equation, one unknown. I'm going to multiply both sides by the numerator, which is unemployed plus 9,600. And here we have 4 times unemployed plus 4 times 9,600 being 100 times unemployed, subtract 4 times unemployed on both sides. Then we have 4 times 9,600 left on the left-hand side, equaling 96 times unemployed. Divide both sides by 96. And you get your number of unemployed as 400. Since now the number of employed was given as 9,600, and now we have found out that the number of unemployed is 400. Part B is pretty straightforward. We know that the number of people in the labor force is 10,000. And using this information, we can also figure out the number of working population, 16 or older, using the information that we have on the labor force and the labor force participation rate given, which was 80. Again, our labor force participation rate is 80. Our labor force is 10,000. We want to know the population over 16 times 100. So all we need to do is solve for the population over 16. I'm going to multiply population over 16 on both sides. And then divide both sides by 80, which gives me 12,500 for population over 16.